Hey everyone, it's Mike Henry Sr. Welcome to the Vision Cast. Today is December the 8th of 2025. I'm very excited about what's going on inside the follower of one world. And today in our Vision Cast, we're talking about the importance of integrity. In fact, our topic for December is about being the light of Jesus in the marketplace. And integrity is this concept of purity, that what you see is what you get. In fact, there's nothing hidden or masked. The idea of being a hypocrite is to wear a mask. And that's also what actors did back in Jesus's day. That's where the idea of being a hypocrite came from, is you had a mask on that you wore. And we all put on masks a little bit. But I believe that part of what Jesus is asking us to do as his followers is not to do that. So, hi, Lynn Farrell. Thanks for joining us again today. Grateful that you can be here as well. We're talking about the importance of integrity and about how we need to be one person everywhere. We have a mission trip going on right now. B1 DFW is what it's called, and that's an organization that Robert Hunt has started with his friends and clients in the Dallas area, about us being one person, being the same person at work and at home, where we are with our faith and where we are on our own or relaxing or being casual, being one person. I think the characteristic that I most appreciate about other people and that I want to work on most in my own life is integrity. It's about being the kind of person that doesn't misrepresent himself to others. I want to be genuine, and I think that's what Jesus calls us to be. If in fact God created the world and created each of us, and everything that you see was his idea, then his commitment to us about being genuine and his challenge to us to be genuine, to be authentic, to realize that none of us is any better than any of the rest of us, that we are all broken and fallen, that we have all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, it says in Romans 3:23. We all are in need of Jesus Christ. Hey, Larry Tribble, thanks for joining us. I see Sohail Sadiq has also joined us as well. Thank you very much. So today we're talking about the importance of integrity. And I would love it if you would just put it in the chat. What does integrity mean to you? Put something in the chat about what's important to you about integrity. I'd also love it if you have a favorite Bible verse related to integrity. If you would put that in the chat. We're actually not going to use my favorites today. I've chosen Bible verses from when the Apostle Paul was speaking to the young men that he trained to be Christ followers after him. I'm actually looking for a gift I was given today. A friend of mine gave me this little rock. He had been in Greece, and he got a chance to go to Corinth and to ancient Corinth. And this rock is from ancient Corinth. And he was talking about the Apostle Paul. The Apostle Paul wrote much of the New Testament, and he wrote most of the content that I take seriously about how to live my life. And so today we're talking about two passages that Paul gave. One was in a letter to Titus, and the other was in a letter to Timothy. And so these are two young pastors that Paul brought along and was coaching through these letters. And I think his message is valid for every believer, not just for pastors. In fact, pastors have a special role in the church, but I'm not sure that we're not all called to the exact same thing. We're all called to live our lives a particular way. So the first passage, it's actually a span of passages. It occurs in Titus, beginning in verse 1, in chapter 1, verse 16. he talks about people that are their opponents or their enemies, and he says they profess to know God, but by their deeds they deny him. You see, our actions say what we believe. Larry put in a good point. He says that, integrity is whether or not my decision to do something involves I can get away with it. I think that's a great point. I see Rick Johnson has joined us too. Hey, Rick. And hi, good to see you. God sees and rewards the things we do in our secret room. Yeah, I'm not recalling that verse yet either, Larry. If anyone else knows that verse, please put it in the chat. So my question is, what's a good definition of integrity for you? And also, if there are any verses about integrity that you want to consider. Now, we're talking about where Paul's talking to this student of his, Titus, and he's writing to Titus. I believe Titus is in Crete, because there's a conversation about the Cretans, the people from Crete, in this book, and he's talking about integrity, but Paul references it to good deeds. That verse I had up, they profess to know God, but by their deeds they deny him. Our actions, the actions that we take and the things that we do tell the world what we believe. Our actions tell people what we believe. If I say that I believe that something is a good thing, and yet I won't spend any money to do it, then how good is it? If I believe that something is the right thing to do, but I won't give any charity and give any money to it, that's another one. That's another conversation. I see we have Bonnie and Kim Parker have also joined us today. Hi, folks. We're up to 7 participants. So glad to have you. Our actions belie or tell or uncover or help others discover what we believe. Our actions matter. And so the first thing that Paul says is the enemy professes to know God, but by their deeds they deny him. On into chapter 2, Paul goes on to say, in all things show yourself to be an example of good deeds. That's just 7 verses later. In Titus 2:7, he's telling Titus to tell the young men and to tell all the believers to be an example. But he says, and show yourself also to be an example of good deeds. And I think that's another kind of way where Paul's challenging us. We can tell those people who don't follow Jesus by their actions, and we want to show ourselves as an example of someone who follows Jesus by our actions. And it's so easy to make choices that belie that. I'm so tempted in the short run to do things that satisfy my flesh or that just, tune out God. And basically, I show that deep down inside, I'm still a flawed human being. Our flesh is one of the enemies that we face. And we're struggling with that all the time. And we all struggle with our flesh. In fact, there's a great passage in 1 Corinthians 9 where Paul talks to people about how we want to discipline our body and make it our slave so that after we preach to others, we won't be disqualified. That's 1 Corinthians 9:27, I believe. I want my actions to testify to my beliefs. Puritan George Swinnock, Bonnie's referencing. I'm curious to see what you're talking about, Bonnie. Is that the quote you found? But anyway, so the other verse that I wanted to talk about, this is one that I've been trying to memorize. It's a verse where Paul's basically challenging Timothy as well. Let no one look down on your youthfulness, but rather in speech, conduct, love, faith, and purity, show yourself an example of those who believe. again, this is the command for integrity, is that we are what we say we are, that we don't represent ourselves as something other than what we really are. There's only one of us. There's only one version of you. And so I want to be the person that I represent myself as. I want that to be genuine and authentic. And that's where it's important that we have integrity. Integrity being what you see is what you get. That's my definition. So Bonnie, I think she's answering the question about where Larry's quote came from. The fading of the flesh and the flourishing of faith. Let us know a little bit more about that, Bonnie. That's a book that's a book she has that she's using. Thank you. Interesting. I'm not reading any Puritan authors right now, so I appreciate you sharing that with us. To me, it's exciting because I think the Puritans were people who reacted to their circumstances in such a way that they were making sure that their actions didn't. I'm just trying not to laugh at the chat, a book I have by me. So Bonnie, thanks very much for sharing that. I think it's exciting. God uses all of these things for us. Using the Puritans as an example, these are people that went extremely in a particular direction so they could make a point with the way they lived. And so it's exciting to me to realize that God's calling us a little bit. I wonder what in our world we might find as reminders for us to make sure that we live carefully based on what we believe. One of those things might be how we act in public or how we interact with other people, or what's going on in the way that we talk about people who are not in the room. I want to be somebody who loves people, and it's just not natural for me. I'm naturally very selfish. I have polished it to quite a science, and it's something that I don't struggle with as much as I probably should. I'm generally pretty selfish, and I want to struggle with it more. And I think that's part of the integrity part here is that sometimes I'm trying to act a particular way because I need to make myself that way. Not because I'm trying to misrepresent things. I'm trying to transform this body. I'm trying to transform this person. And I want to be a different person because of who I follow. I think that's a good aspiration. Integrity is very important because people are genuinely impressed when our actions are different because of our beliefs. I think sometimes they tell themselves a negative story related to that, but if our beliefs are genuine and we're not pursuing our own gain, but we're just trying to follow Jesus, then it will come across as being genuine to other people and they will understand that. God is good. And the more and the harder we chase after him, the more likely he is to use us. Our actions will be seen by other people. Our deeds will be the proof of what we believe. And there is integrity there. People don't have to worry about us having another agenda. We can be totally concentrated on the good of another person simply because we believe that God has us taken care of. So a verse that I use as a reference for this is Romans 8:28. And we know that God causes all things to work together for good, to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. God's causing things to work out well for the most people. Everything he's doing is to save everyone who will be saved. And he's doing his work along those lines, and Romans 8:28 is my reminder of that. Rick actually put in here that he said from a note that he has, integrity demands that every area of your life is treated with the same intensity. You have the same commitment to excellence in your marriage as you do in your career. You have the same commitment to excellence in ministry as you do in your parenting. That's a convicting thought because it's easy for me to compartmentalize and to say that I'm going to put my best energy towards this, and then I flag in other areas. And so that's a great point, Rick. Thanks for adding that. Is integrity also shows itself as being consistent. So choosing the best and the right things and doing that on a regular basis and choosing that. What the point that we want to make in the online community this week is that integrity is key for us to be able to genuinely influence others relative to our faith. This isn't about me selling someone some idea that I don't belong to, but rather me representing life following Jesus. These show yourself an example verses for Timothy and for Titus are challenges to us, because I think that's what we are. We're to show ourselves as examples. We are ambassadors, it says in 2 Corinthians 5. God is challenging us to represent him in this world. And he's given us the Holy Spirit to do that. And to me, that's exciting. He's got this, but he's also called us to be a part of it. And to me, that's just cool. I'm excited to be a marketplace minister, and I'm grateful for you. Grateful for all my friends who are on this live stream as we're recording it. God has a job for each of us today. Each of us will interact with people today who could all use a little help moving one notch closer to Jesus. I just don't think that there's a bigger job, is to just be present with the people that we meet today and help them move one notch closer to Jesus. If you get a chance, one way you can do that is by praying for people. And pray for people in this community. There's a group of people right now doing the Marketplace mission trip. Yes, it's December the 8th, and many of us let our holiday season or different things in our lives separate us from concentrating on our faith. But there's a group of people in Dallas who all chose to do a Marketplace mission trip this week and next week because it was that important. They wanted to make it a priority. And I think that's something that we can all be working on, is making our faith a priority. Our faith is the way we do everything. And so there aren't things that we won't do because we're doing our faith. Our faith is happening all the time as we do everything we do. And so these people are moving forward in the Marketplace mission trip for this very reason. And I'm excited about what God's going to do through them. He has called each of us to serve him in the kingdom. And we are in the kingdom the moment we obey him. The kingdom is where Christ is obeyed. And so when we obey him, we're in the kingdom and we take the kingdom with us. God is using us to expand his kingdom and to make him visible in the world. And he does it through our genuine heart and integrity in the way that we do things. Our deeds show what we believe. And so we want to do that today. Thanks to each of you for being a part of this live stream today. Thanks for sharing the vision that we can live out our faith and that God has a calling for us. God has a job for us to do today. And what we do because we follow him matters. It will matter forever that you interact with someone because of your faith today. It will matter forever because you prayed for someone today. Our prayers aren't just things that we do. Our prayers matter. God makes it work and he makes it count. And so we have this opportunity to be part of an eternal story today, right now. And to me, that's exciting. Thanks so much for being a Marketplace minister. Thank you for stepping into the eternal story that God's writing with your life. What we do because we follow him matters forever, and our deeds will show people what we believe. Thanks so much for being a Christ follower. Thanks for being part of this ministry. I'm excited that you're part of this ministry. People have heard me say this before. Follower one is, I like it to be the bar where all the busy Christians hang out. And so I hope that busy Christians find their way into our community and start helping one another represent Christ better in our daily lives. Thank you, Rick, and thanks to everyone on this call today. I see we got up where we had 8 additional people on here besides myself. Thank you so much for being here. Please share this with your friends. Invite a couple of friends to join us on the next Marketplace mission trip. Our next trip is January the 18th. And as we come up on Christmas, we're in the Advent season. Everyone concentrate a little bit more on the blessing we have because Christ is with us through the Holy Spirit, and we've been given a job to do. Thanks very much.